Finally meeting my 29M online girlfriend, 29F. After years of talking, it's not going well. A couple years ago, I 29M met a girl, 29F. Through an online circle, we talked frequently, and it was always a great time. She's very passionate about a lot of the same things I am, and is very career-driven, which is something I'm looking for. Early last year, she opened up about having feelings for me, which I was receptive to. We started spending more time online together, and eventually it got to a point where she would be telling her coworkers and family members about her boyfriend. This didn't bother me too much. I'm very interested, but for me, I had to meet her to seal that deal. Fast forward to Christmas, and my gift to her was going to be a trip up to meet her, USA to Canada. Trip was very expensive, but worth it. We had talked about me going to meet her a few times, thought it was better that way as she has a lot of anxiety, very important for later, and health issues that would make it much harder for her, especially in this current political climate. Well, that trip happened this weekend. I'm currently typing this out from my hotel room, which I've spent the vast majority of my time here alone in. The main issue. The trip to see her started off how I expected. I don't know this city at all. It's a country I've only been to a few times, and I was nervous myself. Took a 40-minute Uber to my hotel and expected by the time I got there that she would have worked out her nerves and be ready to meet me. Unfortunately, her anxiety was extra bad, and it took her another 2 hours to work up the courage to drive 5 minutes to come see me. This didn't bother me at the time. I knew it'd be rough, and I'm a patient dude, for the most part. We met, she was shaking and bawling her eyes out, but overall it was great, some hugs, and we drove to her place. She lives with her brother, so I was able to meet him, and we chilled out for a little while. Her anxiety was still through the roof, though, so we didn't actually do much for the next couple of hours. She wanted to drive around and show me some stuff, but couldn't. Eventually she decided I should probably Uber back instead of her driving me. Next morning I was up extra early. She usually works nights, so I figured she wouldn't be up for a bit. Not knowing the city, I chose to stay in and wait till she was awake. 4 hours later she messages me, we talk for a bit, and she tells me she's not quite ready to see me as the nerves are still there. That's fine. I found a drugstore in walking distance I can pick some stuff up at and get us some food at a local spot before meeting up. Fast forward about 2 hours later, and I finally get back to her place. She doesn't eat anything and tells me her brother, her and myself are going to go to get together and hang out with a bunch of their friends. That's cool. I ask her how long we'll be there, and she said a few hours. We leave, it's about an hour drive. Every one of her friends were great, super welcoming, and she seemed really happy to introduce me as her boyfriend. Little party lasts a good portion of the night. We don't talk much, as I'm usually getting bounded by her friends, or she's playing a game or something. It's around 10 when we go to leave. Still plenty of night left, I figured. She tends to be up till 3 or 4 in the morning, so I was pretty pumped to get to spend the rest of the night together. However, as we get in the car, she asks her brother if it's cool that she takes me to the hotel before they go home. He says yeah, and I just get to sit in shock the whole way back, that she's too drained to spend a couple of hours of quality time with her boyfriend she just met. At this point, it's all starting to catch up to me, and I'm feeling pretty bad. I get back to the hotel room, and I'm just by this whole trip. I'm alone in a hotel room, in a country I don't know, with my girlfriend a few minutes away, not knowing what to do. What the hell is going on? I fear messaging her about it is going to make her anxiety worse, but at this point I don't know what to do. I'm set to meet her mom in the evening for dinner, and at this point I feel like I've met everyone except for my girlfriend, so I message her that. She's very apologetic, saying her anxiety is through the roof still, and she wanted to make this trip worth it for me, but she's just drained. She makes an effort to let me know she is still very interested and everything, but she knows if we're alone together that nothing would happen because she's just too nervous. She hasn't been in a relationship in a couple of years, so it's hard for her. I tell her I don't even want to try anything intimate if that was her fear. I've barely hugged her this trip, and there's a lot more steps in that process before anything like that could happen. I just want to spend some quality time together. She said tomorrow, after I meet her mom, there will probably be time. All that said, today is my last day here. I leave early tomorrow morning on a flight. I feel like this whole thing has been a waste, and and I'm still just confused. I wanted to spend quality time with her, not sit on a hotel room alone for most of my trip. In my mind, she would want to be with me every waking moment of this trip. Our time is so short. We've talked about it for ages, like that was going to be the case. I don't know if the relationship can last after this. I'll update after we see how this last day goes. Update. A couple months ago, I made a post about our first time meeting. It gained a lot of traction. Can read them here. The TL, doctor, is we had been talking for years, and then things got more serious. We both share the same interests, so the relationship was very important to me, as it's something I value a lot. We had a fantastic time as a LDR, but the first time meeting was rough. The first couple of days was so bad it prompted me to make the post. She has severe anxiety and was the root for most of the issues. However, the last day was much better and things were on the up and up. We planned another trip to a city closer to me in the States, where there would be an event we were both excited about. The last 2 months, things seemed to be going really well post-first trip. She opened up a bit more about the meetup and was very apologetic about the whole thing. We spent the next couple of weeks in calls and video chatting, doing what we loved together. Things were great, but something was missing. A piece of the relationship, something intimate and playful, seemed to have faded. This was her call. She decided that she should be less flirty and sexual online until she can express that the same in person. I respected that. I believed it just needed time, and I've always been committed to working through things together. Unfortunately, that's where things started to spiral. One thing about her is that she's very independent, and that often came across as distant, uncaring. There's some days where she chooses to not interact with me, ignore my messages, or get short when I try to be affectionate and caring. Usually this only happens when she's having a rough day, understandable. Unfortunately, a week ago she was having one of those terrible weeks. In my head, a relationship should be one of comfort, relief, but while I tried to help her through it, she lashed out and started being distant. I tried to comfort her, but it was met with a coldness I couldn't understand. I had to guess how she was feeling and was left in the dark a lot. I made the, in hindsight, wrong choice of opening up about how I didn't understand and how I just wanted to be someone she could lean on. About how it made me feel awful, I couldn't support her. I felt shut out so often. This turned into a lot of messages about how we felt about relationships in general and the changes ours would need to take. It focused on how we care about each other a lot, but she has her anxiety and independent healing she has to work on, and how I have to give her more space and care less. The main villain, as was the culprit of the first meeting, was her anxiety. It's ruining her life in more ways than just our relationship. She's struggling everywhere. So her one priority was to get in a better spot with that, then work on us. This was a great compromise, and I was excited for the next step in the relationship. I would continue to give her time and space to wait for someone I think is a one-of-a-kind worth it, and she would get to the place where she believes that too about herself. And finally, now. I boarded the plane with a lot of hope. Things were good after a few days of us getting back on track, but as I landed, I got a short, heartbreaking message from her. She said she's not in a healthy enough spot to make this relationship work for either of us, that after some reflection, her problems are so bad that she needs to step away and work on them. She doesn't think she'd be able to handle the trip we'd planned and would be ruining another critical point in our relationship. The part that hurts the most isn't the time I've given her, the financial, emotional, or physical pain, or the fact this came out of the blue at the worst time. What hurts the most is it feels like she went from telling me how I was going to be her future to her basically treating me like an acquaintance. The last few days have been so tough. We talked for a little while that first day. Her entire focus of the conversation was that she needed to get better. She barely once talked about us. I got no closure, and now trying to talk to her feels like talking to someone I barely know, despite her saying she wants us to stay close. One of the first things she told me when we started talking was how words meant everything to her. They're so important, they should always mean something. She kept saying how much she cared about us, yet her current actions make me feel the complete opposite. I see her online, hanging out with friends, posting online, like I never existed, like I was just a footnote in her life. I'm here now, I'm going to try to make the best of the trip, but being alone again hurts so much. I don't understand. Some day the distance felt like nothing, and other days she made the miles so much longer. I really tried so hard, I'm exhausted. I'm getting older, feeling the pressure of finding my person really setting in. I don't want to settle, but I feel like I'm going to have to. I want more than anything to just make things right with her, to go back to that week and just give her the space she wanted, so we'd be on this trip together right now. I mentioned above that she's very independent, and her anxiety is taking that away from her. She can't do the things she wants with the people she wants, and I understand that. But what about us? I'm devastated. I know a lot of you saw this coming, and the rest of you all wanted to see this work. How do I move on? I know there's probably no saving this, but I wish there was. What can I do? And how do I find anyone like her again? Important edit here. I've tried local for a few years. I've never had trouble getting dates or matches on apps locally. But I live in a small rural town and haven't found anyone that aligns with my values and interests. From my experience over years of doing this is that dating locally will be settling, which is why I tried online. There's a bigger city about an hour and a half / 2 hours away. Maybe I'll look there, but the relationship will still be long distance.